Next up, at UFC Vegas 68, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Un Jung taking on Devin Clark. Un Jung 15-3 overall, 3-1-1. In his last 5, he is coming off that loss to Dustin Jacoby, which snapped a 16-fight unbeaten streak. Devin Clark 13-7 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off that KO loss to Mirzakhanov, and the best part about that. So we record these videos, we tweet them.
Oh, here we go, your big moment.
We talked about your Joseph Holmes moment.
A little bit. And then I got sidetracked. It was.
Well, anyway, sometimes we catch some smoke, right?
No, I like the story, so go ahead, tell it.
Some fighters don't enjoy being tagged in the videos, but I'm not going to hide behind it. Hey, this is what we think. And I picked Mirzakhanov against Devin Clark, and I'm always the respectful one on the show, always. but he came after me. What did he say? I was uneducated or something like that?
He didn't say you were. He said there was only one educated person on this show, which was in reference to me because I thought that he was going to find that upset in his last fight. I don't even know if I picked him, but I just don't think I was as aggressive as you were in picking against him, I would say. I think you might have called him a quitter or something like that. So I don't think
I don't remember. I typically don't do that though. That's not typical.
Yeah, I
anyway,
know, but I think there was. But I mean, there's reason for that. I mean, and we'll.
Well, he said a bunch of stuff. He said a bunch of stuff and he lost. The Joseph Holmes ones to Jacob was he threatened to kick Jacob's ass. And they got smoked.
Because I said they both sucked, and then he's like, "Oh, we put our lives down the line, and this and this and that." And like, if I
wasn't even that part. That part's actually not bad because he's right.
Right, but then he's like, if I see you, or I can't remember how I have it on a hat. I almost actually wore the hat tonight, but yeah, he was mad that I said he sucked, and then what happened? He fucking sucked. So.
There you go.
And then
I agree.
Kevin Holland beat his ass. Apparently.
Kevin Holland?
Yeah, he said he got jumped by
six
dudes.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Holland's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, I didn't.
Well, anyway, we got Un Jung taking on Devin Clark. Un Jung, he's a technical boxer. He's got solid wrestling, good clinch work. Really well-rounded guy. In the win over William Knight, he ragdolled that dude. 8 takedowns, tons of control time. In the win over Kennedy and Chukwoo, fantastic striking. Got that knockout early. We've seen him do everything. He can do everything. He had a 16-fight unbeaten streak. We say unbeaten instead of win because he had a draw in there. And this is when the comments section goes, "Oh, he's draw to Sam Alvey." First of all, Sam Alvey's actually solid. Not now, like the last. His chin, once his chin was gone, that was the problem. But Sam Alvey was hanging with people for a while. Anyway, Un Jung did just get put out by Dustin Jacoby, which was surprising. But he's very, very good, very, very well-rounded. We've seen him do everything.
Me, so.
I picked Jacoby. I've never picked against Jacoby. I've picked him to win every
fight.
fight.
He's going to knock his ass out, and that's what happened. So.
Anyway, congratulations on a pick 6 months ago. That's good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Devin Clark, solid grappler. Solid grappler, well-rounded, striking as well. He does not have the best chin, but he does have solid footwork, heavy hands, and he looks to crowd his opponent so he can take him down. And once he takes them down, he's looking to just beat him up, right? He wants that TKO instead of a submission. He is coming off that loss to Mirzakhanov. He was outstruck for a couple of rounds before being stopped. I like Jung in this spot. Frankly, I think he's probably safe for some parlays as well. I think he's overall the better fighter. His 16-fight unbeaten streak sort of proves that. Like, it wasn't the easiest streak in the world. He had some solid wins in there. And like I said, different kinds of wins. Grappling wins, striking wins. He makes adjustments. He's got some solid game plans along the way. So I like Jung quite a bit. Minus 250 honestly feels about right. And I think he's a decent parlay guy. You want to throw him with Nakamura? I don't think that's a bad parlay at all. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Let me first start with Devin Clark because I am a Devin Clark fan, and in my quick pick video I mentioned the comparison to Punahele Soriano. I think they're the same type of person because you look at the skill set of Soriano, it's like he's got power, right? He's got wrestling. Why is it? It just feels like he should win more than he does. And I think Devin Clark's the exact same way. It feels like he has all the tools. He's a decent striker. He's got good power. He's got good offensive wrestling. But for some reason, it just seems like he can never put it together for one of those like signature wins, which is exactly what this could be. On that side, I think that Un Jung is an overrated fighter. I think he's an overrated striker. There's a reason why I was telling everyone that Dustin Jacoby was going to destroy this guy. That's exactly what happened. If there was ever a fight that Devin Clark was going to look like what we think Devin Clark should look like. It's probably against a guy like Un Jung, who can be flat-footed, who can be hit, and, the biggest question mark is in the wrestling and in the grappling, because we've seen Devin Clark succumb to wrestling. So if Un Jung comes in and starts wrestling, that is a hole in the game of Devin Clark. And the other big question mark is the Devin Clark mental aspect of this fight, because I love him. His dad is awesome. His dad's always in his corner. He talks like this. He's the loudest dude in the entire place. Come on, Devin, with the deepest voice you've ever heard. But it just feels like there's just so many fights where his dad in his corner in between rounds are just trying to get him going. Come on, Devin. You got it. Come on, Devin. It just feels like they're always trying to push him, and maybe he just never is going to break through that mental aspect, which a lot of times is the most important part. I mean, we saw that with the reverse side of Tyron Woodley, the confident striker knocking people out, and then he loses it and he can never be that guy. I just don't know if Devin Clark can ever be the guy that his skill set should allow him to be. So I want to pick him in this matchup because I think it's a winnable fight for him, but I just can't trust him. I think Un Jung can come in and maybe out-wrestle him, but in the striking, I think he's got some liabilities, but I'll pick Un Jung. I'm just not as high as you are in this fight.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in him, obviously. I mentioned that. We do have a $5 super chat from Phil Lower. What y'all think of Jay Perrin losing like that to the youngest guy after talking all that smack? I actually don't think that was embarrassing. I think, that wasn't it was a beating. Like he lost quickly, but it wasn't a beating. Right? He wasn't mauled. He was taken down and submitted. And if anything, that's like,
poor Rosa's,
I'd rather be submitted than knocked out.
His brother had a pro debut and he lost, so.
Is he a grappling fiend as well? Or
I don't know. I didn't see it. It was a decision loss, so I'm not sure what happened. I saw him like a highlight where he's like aggressive with the striking, but Rosa's going to be the first 3-time champion, he said. So that's off to him.
Yeah, I mean, so anyway, thank you very, very much for the super chat. I don't see that and think any differently of Jay Perrin other than he was out grappled by a much better grappler, and that's going to happen. So, yeah, don't feel differently there. Un Jung, $8,700. I do like him. I'm pretty confident in him to win. I think he's a pretty straightforward win for him, frankly. I think he sort of comes forward and he can grapple, he can strike. I don't even know what his game plan will be because we've seen him have multiple game plans in fights. But I think if he wants to grapple, he can get it done.
I was just going to tag onto that. The bet I've been flirting with, the bet I've been hovering over, and I've almost placed it 100 times now, is the -3.5. For Un Jung. It brings him from a -250 to a -145. And if he does win this fight, it does feel like he's going to dominate this fight. So that's just a bet that I've been toying with, maybe playing. I don't know if you have any insight on how you feel about that -3.5.
Yeah, it should hit -3.5 for anybody who doesn't know. That just means that Un Jung has to win inside the distance or has to win all 3 rounds, right?
He can lose 1 round on one judge's scorecard, I think is how it is.
Something like that. Something like that. Or even 2. He just can't lose a full round, 29-28.
Yeah.
So that should hit because I think it's a pretty straightforward fight. And it's a great bet to take wide odds and then make them tighter. So
that's how UFC 283, I did that for 3 fighters. And I did it with Andrade, I did it with Gilbert Burns. I moved their odds because those were what, -3, -400 type odds. I moved them down to -200 and hit big on Andrade, Burns, and I can't remember the other one.
I don't remember the other one either, but I do think you had 3 of those. Yeah, no, I typically like those bets, and they're great for if you're confident in Jung and you think he dominates, it's great for a spot like this because it will bring those odds down. Typically, I do the +3.5 where there's an underdog. Actually, didn't you have a +3.5 on?
I did not.
That's on this card, and if you're a premium member, you'll see it. So Jacob does have
Thiago Moises. Yeah, so I got Andrade for -230, Gilbert Burns for -185, and Thiago Moises for -210, and they all smoked those people.
Yeah, no, those were good bets. Yeah. If you want to unlock all of our bets for this card and every other card, go to weownpicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. It is only $10 a month, and that's per month, not per event. Every single card in that 30-day period, you will unlock all of our stuff. weownpicks.com. At the top, click Become a Member. Un Jung, $8,700. I do like that in DraftKings. The Monkey Knife Fight strike line 52 to 56. I'm not going to touch it because, it could be a wrestle-heavy game plan by Un Jung, and if that's the case, then Devin Clark's not going to get to his 56. So I'm not going to touch that Monkey Knife Fight strike line. What do you think?
DraftKings, I think he's pretty good value, 8,700, and strikes, I think it's probably like a less because both these guys seem like lower volume, and if Un Jung starts landing, Devin Clark's going to fold, unfortunately.
And Un Jung can wrestle. So less probably is the play there. So WeWantPicks.com/MKF if you want to give that a stab. And if you get that right, you can triple your money.